So this right here is Adam Mosseri. He is the head of Instagram, and he just posted an extremely controversial video talking about whether or not Instagram uses the microphone built inside our cell phones to listen to our conversations and then later serve us advertisements about things that we said in private. So today I'm going to be watching this video alongside you guys, and I'm going to be reacting to it as an unbiased third-party tech reviewer who has done quite a lot of research on this exact topic. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video.
This is a myth-busting video about something I've had a lot of passionate conversations about, maybe at least a few, 2 or 3 with my wife as well, which is we do not listen to you. We do not use the phone's microphone to eavesdrop on you. Now,
okay, so I'm not a lawyer, but I do know if the head of a major tech company is straight up making that bold of a statement on Instagram of all places, saying that they absolutely do not listen to us, they don't spy on us, and they don't use the microphone to do so, I'm pretty sure the FTC would come down extremely hard on somebody for just bold-faced lying like that. Because this right here is video evidence. It's not something that was said on the side or anything like that. So just to kick things off, I'm not saying I believe him or don't believe him. I'm just saying he is putting out a lot of incriminating evidence if he is lying. But let's just continue to see what he's saying.
first of all, if we did, it would be a gross violation of privacy.
True.
You would drain your phone's battery and you would notice, and you would actually see a little light on the top of the screen letting you know that the microphone was on. But
okay, so if you guys don't know about this, I'm actually going to pull up a phone conversation I was having earlier. So when I'm recording, you'll see this little orange light right here. This little orange light indicates that your microphone is actually listening to you. And that was on because I was on a phone conversation. So that's what he's kind of referring to. But he is right about one thing. Your phone battery would absolutely be drained so quick if they were listening. Not saying they are or they're not, but that, you know, decent point and technically correct, yes. Let's go ahead and continue.
But even if you don't believe any of that, let me explain why you might see an ad for something that you recently talked to somebody about. One, maybe you actually tapped on something that was related or even searched for that product online on a website maybe before you had that conversation.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think that is such a poor example because the majority of us are smart enough to realize if we were researching a vacation to Cancun or researching to buy a sailboat, that we could then maybe have opted into some type of cookies targeted and retargeting type of ads, right? So if you're looking up trips to Maui for your family and then you go on American Airlines or you go on whatever travel website and you're trying to book a ticket, come on, we're clever enough to know. So I think this is just such a poor example. Not bashing him for it. It's a simple, easy to understand and digest one. I just don't think that's a really good excuse in my opinion.
We actually do work with advertisers who share information with us about who was on their website to try to target those people with ads. So if you were looking at a product on a website, that advertiser might have paid us to reach you with an ad.
Okay, so now the truth's coming out a little bit more. This is exactly what I think is happening the majority of the time. It's the buying and selling of your private information. This is based off of personal interest. This is based off of location, time of year, age, a bunch of different factors, things they find off your social media profile that you're just offering up to them. Now, when different websites are actually working together, like Instagram, they sell your information, they buy your information. And the reason for that is so that they can do targeted advertisements. Now, I don't really think this is as evil as it kind of sounds. Oh my gosh, they know I want to go to Disney World this summer, and Disney and Meta, they're working together to put ads on Instagram so that I buy Disney tickets. Here's the thing. You are interested in buying Disney tickets, so I guess it's better to get Disney ads than Universal Studio ads or something like that you're just not interested in at the time. So I don't think it's evil or evil intent or something like that, but it absolutely is happening. Whatever you are interested in, they're buying and selling your information, and they have been for decades. If you think this is new, they've known about you for a really long time. But he just straight up says it right there. We are selling your information, we're buying your information, and that's just what it is. So that's key point number one.
Two, we show people ads that we think that they're interested in or products we think they're interested in part based on what their friends are interested in and what similar people with similar interests are interested in. So it could be that you were talking to someone about a product and they before had actually looked for or searched for that product, or that in general people with similar interests were doing the exact same thing.
Okay, so he's talking about targeted advertising, and this is where the rabbit hole gets really extremely deep. So they actually find information based on similar people, and similar people could be like your best friend, you and your best friend that are following each other on Instagram, right? And the way they can tell is because you're most active with that user. When you see a funny reel, you share the reel with your best friend or your family member, whoever you interact with a lot. So targeted ads could come from something your best friend was looking up and searching. Your best friend then brings up the trip to Hawaii, right? You didn't look it up. Your best friend looked it up. Or they got an ad for it, or their scroll behavior indicated their interest level in it, right? And it's also summertime, and they also live in Southern California, which is close to Hawaii, versus like the East Coast, who may be more interested in going to like the Bahamas, for example. That's a much further trek. So they know based on where you live, what time of year it is, and what your mutual circle is all interested in, they will serve you things. So you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so weird. My best friend and I were on the phone, and she brought up she wants to go on a trip with me to Maui. Next thing I know, I get on Instagram and I have advertisements to go to Maui. Well, the interesting part is either she looked up a trip to Maui, she got an advertisement for a trip from Alaska Airlines to go to Maui, or even better yet, she might have watched an influencer travel vlog about Maui, and she's just been watching content about Maui. And guess what? Instagram has a really good way of knowing people in her circle, her and her sphere of influence might be interested in going to Maui based off all those factors that I said. So that's kind of interesting. He's kind of roundaboutly tiptoeing around this because, like, I don't think they want to exactly enlighten everybody exactly how their algorithm works, but that is part of how it works. Let's continue.
3, you might have actually seen that ad before you had the conversation and not realized it. We scroll quickly, we scroll by ads quickly, and sometimes you internalize some of that, and that actually affects what you talk about later.
Okay, so again, I think that was a pretty basic explanation of that. I actually want to pull up the exact definition for this because this is a really interesting phenomena, and I really think that like people are underestimating this. So what he's talking about is you may have seen that ad before, and you're just now only noticing it after you had a conversation about it. So this right here, and I actually have the definition I want to like read. I'll pop it up on the screen. This is called the Bader-Meinhof effect, or the frequency illusion. And it's a cognitive bias in which a person notices a specific concept, word, or product more frequently after recently becoming aware of it. So basically, what Adam is trying to say is that they may have already fed you 10 different advertisements for Maui trips or to go to Hawaii, but you didn't notice it because your brain is so powerful. It is literally logging tens of thousands of new information like smell, taste, sound, sight, and everything that we bring in, our brain, it can process it. The really important stuff it'll put on the forefront of our minds, and the stuff that it thinks might be mildly important but we don't really actively need to care about it, it could put it in the back of your mind. Now, you might see advertisements every single day. Like when you're driving to work, you see billboards. You might not even notice what's on those billboards, but you know that you do see them every single day, right? And as I'm saying that right now, you're thinking, oh wait, I do remember the billboards I pass every day. You weren't actively thinking about it. You're thinking about it because I just brought it up, right? So I like to call this the yellow or red car theory, because if someone was like, Andrew, you want to buy a brand new Mustang, for example, what color would you get? Would you get black, white, silver? And I'd be like, you know what? I want a red Mustang. You know what's weird about that statement? You might have driven down the same road, the same street every single day at the same exact time on the way to work. And you might not have noticed this before, but you've always been passing red Mustangs because Mustangs in general are an extremely popular car. The interesting point is, after I bring it up to you, you're going to be driving and you're going to text your best friend, dude, you'll never guess what I saw on the way to work today. 3 red Mustangs. What are the odds? I've never seen a red Mustang before. Now that you brought it up, I'm seeing red Mustangs absolutely everywhere. And this is the frequency illusion, because your brain has seen them before. They just were not relevant or important. Why would you need to know or remember red Mustangs until you know your best friend said he wanted one, right? That is what this whole thing is. And he says it really simply, but that's actually what it is. So anyway, long story short, let's get back to this again.
4, random chance, coincidence. It happens.
Number 4 being random chance or coincidence. That is one heck of a coincidence. I think, again, that's like, he's just trying to give answers that will satisfy people, but in reality, I think he knows it's going to get him fired up. That is not a good reason. That's not a good excuse. It absolutely is more intentional than he's leading people to believe. I'm not saying he's being deceptive. I think technically he is correct in what he's saying, and it could be any of those 4 things. Absolutely. And I also realize this is a reel. This is like a 1-minute video, and I'm taking time to actually explain to you. What he's saying is just super surface level, and like, I don't think any of us are actually buying that. It's a lot more intentional than this video is leading you to believe.
I know some of you are just not going to believe me no matter how much I try to explain it, but I wanted to set the record straight. I'm sure the comments on this one are going to be a little bit spicy. See y'all soon.
Yeah, the comments are going to be spicy, and rightfully so. And that's because, just on a surface level, you're giving a 60-second reply to a very complex answer. Now, in my personal opinion, through a lot of research and a lot of time spent on this, do I think that there's malice intent? Do I think that they are absolute? Well, first of all, let me actually answer this question. Do I think it's possible for Instagram or other apps to use your phone cameras, speakers, and microphones? Yes, it is possible. We give them consent to do that when we're actually using their app, right? We're like recording ourselves, making reels, taking pictures, doing all that stuff. They absolutely do have the capability to do this. So if you are skeptical, rightfully so, because it is possible. Is it happening actually though? I don't think so. And that's because whether Instagram likes it or not, if they were listening to you, Apple would tattle on them. You would see that little orange dot I showed you earlier. Apple would tattle on them because that's built into the hardware and software of your phone and not of the Instagram app. So you would know if they were listening in the background to you. I just think basically what he said is extremely surface level. It made the video more controversial than it needed to be. It's absolutely targeted marketing. And then it's also the different psychology effects that we kind of talked about. So yeah, in reality, there's no malice intent in my opinion. I don't think his lawyers and, the powers that be at Meta or Instagram would have even let him upload this reel if what he was saying was not true. If the head of Instagram is saying they're not using my camera and my microphone to spy on me without my consent, I do believe that. I just also believe that they're buying and selling my information and sharing it across social media sites and different shopping sites and things like that to give me highly particular targeted ads. But the other thing to consider is you and I are probably feeding them a lot more information about ourselves through like swipe behavior, click behavior, and different things like that. Like if you see a Hawaii travel vlog video and you stop scrolling, but you had scrolled through the first 20 videos it showed, but that's the one you hesitated on, what do you think it's indicating and showing the algorithm you're interested in? So your specific algorithms, they're going to be tailored to what your interests are, just like your shopping behaviors, because your algorithms a lot of time coincide and are in line with what you want to actually purchase. And so it's just really targeted marketing at the end of the day, and it's all this illusion. Because here's the thing, you probably saw 10 Disney advertisements before. You just didn't notice till we had this conversation and you saw the 11th. So yeah, basically that's pretty much it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. I'm sure I'm going to have a ton of you guys disagreeing with what I'm saying, because no matter what you tell some people, they are going to believe, nope, they're spying on me. Just because they can doesn't mean they are. Anyway, until I see you guys on next week's video, thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button and go check out one of these, because for some reason, YouTube says you might like them.